Welcome to the Zach Penn Sports Report. A lot going on in the world of sports, including after 14 years, Army finally beat Navy. So that hex or curse, whatever, is off. Army's back after 14 years. They finally defeated Navy, and I'm sure they felt great about that. But Zach, beside that, what's happening in the world of sports?
Well, yeah, that was most of what was going on in college football this week. But besides that, the Heisman Trophy ceremony happened. There was 5 candidates, and as I predicted, Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. The youngest ever winner at only 19 years old winning the Heisman. The first ever even Heisman finalist from Louisville. So it's a shocker that he won. But I'm not shocked, as he scored 1,000,000 touchdowns. He had 30 touchdowns passing, 15 touchdowns rushing. One of the only players to do that ever. The only other players to do that were Cam Newton and Tim Tebow, both Heisman winners in those seasons. So it was not unexpected to me, especially with this being one of the weaker Heisman classes that there's been in the last few years. So besides that, basketball, when we talked last, I was saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers were coming off that 3-game losing streak. I told the viewers that they needed to put their big boy pants on. They did just that. Won their next 2 games by 30 points each, including the game against the Knicks that I went to and live tweeted for Halftime Howie at. Absolutely shellacking that the Knicks took, that really sent them back to earth after they were on a 4-game win streak. Really sat in the crowd, but they didn't have Derrick Rose playing in that game. He was out with an injury, so I think hopefully that gives the Knicks fans a little bit of hope in terms of next time the two face down, especially since the Knicks are now finally looking at a playoff seed this year. Besides that, in basketball, a lot of crazy scores going on. San Antonio lost this week. The Warriors just lost last night to the Grizzlies by 20 points and had their butt kicked up and down the court for the whole night. So maybe the Grizzlies exposed. The Grizzlies are a ground and pound team with Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph. Maybe they exposed a weakness in the Warriors team that might show a crack in this so-called super team. And talking about super teams, transitioning over to Howie's Red Sox. Proclaimed a super team by everyone now that they made a huge trade for Chris Sale. Now they have 3 bona fide aces. No other team could say that. Maybe a few teams could say they have 2. But having 3 aces that all could conceivably win the Cy Young Award next year, that all could be finalists for it easily. Rick Porcello, David Price, and now Chris Sale. And Chris Sale has been at the top of his game. He's former Cy Young winner. Beast. Now the Red Sox are looking like a dynasty. And it's funny because Brian Cashman, the Yankees... Oh, look at this. So,
Keep talking.
Brian Cashman, the Yankees GM, said that they're the new Warriors, which is a turn of events considering that in 2002, the Red Sox general manager at the time claimed that the Yankees were a super team and that the Yankees payroll was talking about the Yankees payroll and how ridiculous it was. And now the Red Sox have a higher payroll than the Yankees by $20 million. So we'll see if all that money can buy them a championship. But as we all know in the world of baseball, pitchers are very volatile. Chris Sale could have his worst year ever this year with the new pitching coach. Hopefully for Howie's sake that doesn't happen.
Us Red Sox fans like to say the Red Sox closed the sale at the winter meetings. Wow. And not only did we get Chris Sale, who has the best ERA in the American League over the last 4 years, we also got Thornburg, an excellent pitcher from the Brewers. We also got Mitch Moreland, a Gold Glove first baseman, so now we can move Hanley Ramirez to DH spot. So I think we're looking at a Red Sox-Cubs World Series this year, because I think the Red Sox look unbeatable, and they have the Killer Bees, the 4 great young bees in their lineup, who are all awesome and all young. Bradley, Bogarts, Betts, and Benintendi. So led by the Killer Bees and Chris Sale. Yankee fans, forget about it. It's the Red Sox ruling in 17.
I can't argue with that. Besides that, the Yankees, in juxtaposition, are starting to rebuild. They're at the complete opposite end of the spectrum as the Red Sox. And I think it's good that the Yankees are rebuilding because competing with the Red Sox this year would be unthinkable. I think the Cubs, as it looks like they're primed for a World Series run, it's not looking good anymore. So, besides that, in other news in the world of sports, the NFL, the race for the AFC 6 seed is heating up now that the Broncos took an unexpected tumble against the Titans. The Titans were in the basement in the league last year, had the number 1 overall pick before trading it, and a lot of people thought they should take that number 1 pick and use it on the best player available. A lot of people said the Titans had a bunch of holes and they needed the best player, but they parlayed that pick into a ton of different selections, parlayed it into a bunch of Rams picks, and the Rams just got absolutely destroyed by the Falcons today and are looking like they're going to have a top 10 pick, in fact. So the Titans made a great move, and they're even putting themselves in the position now where they could make the playoffs. They're actually tied for top in the AFC, I believe the AFC South, and tied with the Texans at 7-6, and they're looking at the playoff race from the outside in because the Texans have beaten them twice. But besides those games, they've looked great. So if they can run the table, they could definitely make the playoffs because the Texans are a very up and down squad this year. But as I was saying, the race for the 6th seed is heating up. If the Ravens win tomorrow night, the Ravens will knock the Steelers out of the playoffs, and they'll be looking at the 6th seed where the Denver Broncos are sitting there at 8-5. The Miami Dolphins are sitting there at 8-5. There's a bunch of teams hovering around at 7-6, 6-7 area. So it's looking like the 5th seed is going to be taken by either the Raiders or the Chiefs. A great game on Thursday night, by the way. Definitely better than the one we talked about last week with the Cowboys and the Vikings, but got less views somehow. I don't know what that was about. But it's looking like the playoff race is heating up. Early in the year, it looked like it was going to be a walk away for a bunch of teams and that there was a clear division of good and bad teams. But now, as the season's gone on, after this week, there's only 3 games left. We'll see how it goes. Besides that, the Giants game kicking off tonight, actually on the screen up there, is about to start. And if the Giants lose, they'll still be in the position to make the playoffs as they're 8-4 right now and looking good. But any of you Giants fans out there, you've seen their games. They don't look like an 8-4 team. They don't run the ball like an 8-4 team. And I know that Eli is clutch, and all you need to do is get Eli to the playoffs, but the problem is getting there because the race is heating up. The Redskins won today. It's setting up for, as you mentioned earlier, for the Redskins-Giants game to be a sort of all-out brawl duel for the win-in to the playoffs. So that Week 17 contest might actually be a play-in game for the playoffs. So we'll see about that. So hopefully for New York fans, the Giants can pull this one out and can breathe a sigh of relief. But if they don't, the NFC East will be wrapped up this week by the Cowboys, the up-and-coming Cowboys. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll talk about it again next time.
Zach Penn, thanks for that Red Sox Red Hot Sports Report.